Hey guys, it's Sarah. Today's video is going to be a full face of all of my least favorite makeup, and I'm a little nervous. This was a request from a subscriber named Jenna. She's a longtime friend of my channel. It sounded like a fun video. I feel like this is kind of a way of giving all these products a second chance. The disadvantage is that I'm using them all together. So like I'm using my least favorite primer along with my least favorite foundation, and I feel like that may affect the look of them even more than if I were using like my least favorite foundation with other products that I like better. So we'll see how it goes. It's kind of just a fun video and a way to just sort of have some fun with makeup and try to make some things work for me. I'm a big fan of making products work, even if they're not my favorite, because I feel like you can always, usually not always, make products work for you. So we're gonna try that today. Let's go ahead and get started. Starting with my least favorite primer. This is from Jordana, which is one of my favorite drugstore brands, but this primer just didn't really do it for me. It's their Prime No Pores Pore Refining Face Primer. I haven't used this in a long time. It wasn't that it was bad, it's just that I didn't really feel like it did anything, which is kind of how I feel about a lot of primers. It's kind of like a white looking primer, and the kicker for me is that it smells like glue, which just isn't the most pleasant. But you know, I'm gonna give it another chance. I don't feel like it's a bad primer. I feel like it must do something. It must have some place in my collection. I just need to figure out what it is. So it's meant to be pore refining. It doesn't really have any other claims, does it? Well, it says also hydrates skin, minimizes pores and reduces redness, extends the wear of makeup. So, you know, no crazy claims or anything. The smell isn't as bad as I remember it, actually. It's almost like a cross between glue and like mint. I'm getting more of a minty smell than anything right now. I feel like it's a little bit hydrating. It comes out kind of like a lotion, not nearly as hydrating as some other primers. And you know, maybe it smoothed out my pores a little bit. I don't really think any primer is gonna actually completely erase your pores, but I have a few least favorite primers, but the one I wanted to give another chance today is the Flower Light Illusion Foundation. I tried this in the winter and I didn't like it at all. I felt like it actually accentuated my dry skin while it's supposed to be a luminous foundation. I didn't find it luminous at all, but I want to give it another chance because I thought, you know, my skin was obviously pretty dry in the winter. My skin isn't quite as dry now, although I have still been having some bouts of dryness, but right now it's a little bit more normal. I don't have quite as many dry patches right now, so I'm gonna give it another try. The other thing that I think made me not like it as much is because the shade is just a little too light. I have the shade Shell, which I think is the lightest shade. So I'm actually gonna mix it this time with my Ulta foundation adjusting drops. Just like a tiny drop of this usually does the trick. So I'm gonna take one pump. The pump is actually really small, so I'm gonna start with just one very small pump and like the tiniest little bit of this adjusting stuff. I think starting with just less foundation at first sometimes gives it a better chance to look good, and then if I want to add more in the areas that need more coverage, I can. But you know, I really want to like this foundation. I feel like I just need to find the right combination of products to wear it with. I don't think I've ever tried it with this Jordana primer, so we will see how they perform together. But I think that at least I can probably pull this off in the summer when my skin is not dry. And I'm using my sponge because I feel like sponges... Heidi really wants me to play with her right this minute. I do think that using a sponge gives foundation the best chance at looking good on my skin. So that's what I'm doing here. You know, I'm not minding this so far, but I used a very small amount. I think that's one really good trick with foundations that are tricky. Start with a smaller amount than you think you need, and then just add some in the places that really need more coverage. Really making a point to blend around my nose. You know what pet peeve I have? Is when YouTubers are putting on foundation and they don't blend it like into their nose crease right here. And you can like tell that it's not blended in there. I don't know why, but that bothers me so much. All right, I am gonna add a little more to just my cheeks. One thing I figured out, I don't need a lot of coverage on my forehead, so I like to just put a very small amount on my forehead because I just don't need much there. So I'm just taking like half a pump. Oh darn, that was probably too much of the mixer. Let's do a little more. Then just applying to the areas where I need it. It's funny because when I reviewed this foundation in a speed reviews video, so many people were like, what? That foundation is so glowy and so dewy on me. And I'm like, really? Like, on me, it's just not very dewy. And those are coming from people who said they had dry skin. So I don't know, it must just interact with my skin differently than other people. But then I have had other people tell me that it also accentuated dry patches. So I know it's not just me. But I would say overall the finish is natural looking. I wouldn't say it's dewy, but it is more dewy than it is matte right now. So not hating it, actually. It definitely helps that my skin is not very dry right now. That might just be the secret for me with this one. I probably just need to save this for times when my skin isn't dry. Moving on to concealer. I don't like this concealer. I really don't think I do. I've tried it so many times. It's the NYX Dark Circle Concealer. I think I heard that they're discontinuing this. I just don't feel like this does anything for me. I bought it thinking it would make a good under eye corrector, which it is a slightly peachy undertone, but it doesn't seem to really correct my dark circles. I have kind of bluish purple toned dark circles, and when I wear it on its own, it just doesn't have a lot of coverage. And when I wear it underneath another concealer, I don't feel like it adds any kind of color correcting quality to my under eye look. So I'm just applying it with my finger. It's not bad, it's just, it has very little coverage to me as someone with, you know, pretty, I'm not gonna say severe dark circles, but pronounced dark circles. And I just don't get much out of it. Sometimes I feel like it can look kind of dry, and it actually feels very creamy today. I wonder if it's because it's a little bit warm in my apartment right now. It feels more creamy than normal. So hey, maybe I'm being proven wrong right now. It doesn't feel as dry as it sometimes does. Wouldn't it be funny if I ended up loving this look? So far, I don't dislike it. I'm not gonna layer on any more because I don't wanna make it look cakey. I'm gonna set my under eyes with my usual loose powder just because I don't wanna make my under eyes look bad on purpose, and I really don't like setting my under eyes with pressed powder, so I'll be right back. I'm just using the e.l.f. HD powder in Soft Luminance for this. It's a beautiful loose powder. Okay, I think my least favorite face powder is actually the one that's in my project pan currently. It's the Physicians Formula Healthy Powder. This is where this little experiment kind of goes wrong because it's not a good science experiment. Like, we're adding in so many factors that could affect the look of the makeup negatively, but I feel like out of all the powders I have, this one looks the most obvious and the most heavy on my skin. It kind of adds like a cakey quality to my overall look. But I'm just gonna try to apply a very light dusting of this, just in the areas that I think need to be set. So when it comes to cheek products, I don't really have any blush, bronzer, and highlight that I don't like. So for this category, I'm just gonna use the products that are like my least used, maybe. Although for highlight, I think I do have a least favorite, and this might be surprising, but this is the Becca Champagne Pop Liquid Highlighter. I love the powder version of this, but for some reason the liquid version, I feel like it doesn't do anything. Is that just me? And I've already powdered like basically my T-zone, but I didn't really powder this area, so I don't dislike it. It's just that it doesn't seem to do much. Like, I feel like it almost disappears as I blend it out. But it could just be, you know, it could just be that it's a subtle highlight, which is fine. Like, I don't mind that. It's just the powder version of this, I would not classify that as a subtle highlight, so I kind of expected this to be a little more noticeable. It doesn't look bad. I mean, it makes my cheeks look healthy. It's just, I guess it's the one that you would reach for when you don't want to look like you're wearing highlighter, which is, you know, I mean, I guess I never want to look like I'm wearing highlighter, but like, this one is really subtle. For bronzer, this, again, I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. It's just the one that I haven't used in a very long time for some reason, probably just because I've been focusing on other bronzers. Like I was panning one, but this is the Jordana powder bronzer in Sunkissed Bronze. I bought this because I did a big like Jordana brand review last year, and I remember liking it. It's a little bit glowy, and I sort of remember it having a little bit of a reddish undertone if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely warm, which I don't always mind as long as it's not too deep, but let's just see. Lately I've been applying bronzer a little bit differently. I used to apply it almost like a contour, But that's not really what bronzer is meant for, you know? Lately I've just been applying it kind of to the high points of my face where the sun would naturally hit. I feel like that just makes more sense. My nose, my cheeks, lightly, very lightly to my cheeks. Yeah, this is not a bad bronzer at all. Sort of do like a C. But instead of hitting here at the contour, I'm hitting more at the high point. And then blush. This also I like, it's my least used, I think because it's a loose powder blush, but this is the Terre Mineral Blush in Rosy. Ooh, there's a lot of it in the top. It's kind of a glowy, neutral pink blush, I guess I would describe it. A little bit on the cool side. Trying not to pick up too much on my brush. It really is a pretty blush. I really should use this more often. I've also been applying blush like up here and onto my nose just to give me kind of a sun-kissed look, because like if you were to get sunburned, which I don't advise doing, that's where the sun would be hitting, you know? Even like kind of in here. But I just take the very last bit of what's on the brush after I've already applied it elsewhere to get in right there. I just think it looks pretty. Okay, you know what? I'm actually really liking this look so far. Before I move on to my eyes, I am gonna go ahead and set my face. This is, out of the two setting sprays I have, this one I don't like nearly as much as the other. It's the NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. The reason I don't like this is because it makes your skin look dewy, but it doesn't make it feel dewy. It doesn't feel hydrating at all. In fact, the second ingredient is alcohol. So it actually feels quite drying and tightening on the skin, but it does look very glowy. I have to say the mister is really nice though. I mean, look at that glow. Obviously it's wet right now, but it's gonna dry looking very dewy. So I'm thinking it's a good dewy setting spray to have for making your makeup last longer, because it says it's long lasting. So it is really a setting spray more so than a finishing spray like the Pixie Glow Mist. It does kind of lock in your makeup, but it looks dewy. So it's not something I'd wear every day because it would probably be very drying on my skin, but on those days that I do, like maybe in the summertime, I'm gonna be outside sweating or something, and I want my makeup to last longer but still have that nice dewy finish, this is the one for that. And I liked the sprayer on it. I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyelids. I only have one eyelid primer. It's the Ulta Matte Eye Primer. I actually do really like this primer. Yeah, see, my face it almost feels like I put hairspray on my face. Like it feels sticky and tight. For my brows, I'm gonna try, again, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Gel. This is tinted. I really like the shade Taupe in their pomade and their Brow Wiz. It worked perfectly for me, but for some reason this one, it's very dark. Like it's a heavily tinted gel as opposed to like the e.l.f. Wow Brow. That one's a very light tint. So this one I find to be a little too dark for me sometimes, but I like to actually use this to actually fill in my brows. So I'm not gonna use a pomade or anything to fill them in. I'm just gonna use this. And I'm also making sure to really clean off the tip there on a rag. And I'm gonna start by just combing through my brows with a spoolie to get them all going the right way. And then I may even take my brow brush from Anastasia that I really like. It's my favorite brow brush. And actually fill in my brows first with some of this product just to sort of get them filled in how I want them. But see, it's very dark. I didn't realize that this would be as pigmented as it is when I bought it. But there have been some times where I've used this as my only brow product on sort of like no makeup days, and it does work for that. But I've actually never tried this technique before with the brush. It's not bad. I got a little messy at the tail. All right, I'm going to lightly comb through my brows now. The problem with really pigmented tinted brow gels though, even though this does have a nice pointed brush, is that it's hard not to get product like outside the lines, you know? So it's definitely something I can use, but a little messier than I usually like my brows, so still not a huge fan of that. For eyeshadow, I'm gonna use my two lowest ranked eyeshadow palettes, the Profusion Spectrum palette and the Milani Bold Obsessions. If you missed it, a few weeks ago I did a video ranking all of my palettes. These were the two that came out on the bottom. Sorry, spoiler if you haven't seen it. But I really haven't given this many chances. It's just not something that I'm reaching for all the time because I'm just not a big like rainbow eyeshadow person. I do want to find a fun way to use it. I might also use my Stila Glitter and Glow in Diamond Dust, which this is also something I don't love. I talked about it in my overhyped makeup that I don't love video. So yeah, it's not bad, I just don't love it. But I think I want to use, at least to start out, I want to use Bermuda. I might not use a ton of colors from here, but I want to try that. I think I just want to do like a blown out sort of watercolor eye look, which is something I've really been loving lately, with that sky blue shade. Just taking a flat shader brush, and I'm just going to start packing that basically all over the lid and up into my crease. These are not the most pigmented eyeshadows ever. This is like a $5 palette, but I don't necessarily mind that because they are nice, like they're pigmented enough. They're not gonna overwhelm you right away. So if you're kind of a beginner to bright colors, it might actually be a good palette for you. And $5, like how, you can't beat that price. Just taking a bare crease brush and blending that out. I'm blending it almost all the way up to the brow. I want it to be really seamless and just blown out. I may not even use the Milani palette after all. This one was my lowest ranked, so let's see. Do I want to use any of the other colors in here? I kind of just want to keep it super simple. I'm going to take a little more of that color and blend it down onto my lower lash line. This is a little different for me, isn't it? I'm just going to top it and do almost like a soft cut crease with the Stila Glitter and Glow in Diamond Dust. Doing like a half cut crease, really. That is really pretty. Okay, now I'm going to potentially ruin this whole look with the mascara that I'm gonna give another chance, and it is the Dirty Hippie volumizing mascara. This is like a low waist mascara, very environmentally friendly. Also, not the easiest to work with. So it comes in this glass vial. Love the concept, love that it's plastic free. And it came with this incredibly basic spoolie that you could probably buy at the dollar store. That's what the spoolie looks like. Like, it is the most basic type of mascara brush, and I did not have a good experience. I've only used this mascara once, and I have not wanted to use it again, but I'm gonna give it another chance. This time I cleaned off a mascara brush that I do like better from a mascara that I used up, the CoverGirl Lash Blast Volumizing Mascara. I cleaned off this brush, so I'm gonna try this mascara with a different brush and see if I like it better. The other annoying thing about this is there's no stopper, but I'm thinking that because this CoverGirl brush is a little bit wider than the original, it might come off a little bit cleaner. So let's just go for it. Okay, the tip is very gunked up, but the other bristles are not. Okay, you know what? I am having a much easier time than I remember having the first time I tried this. It looks a lot better than it did the first time. I think at the end of the night, I'm gonna do like a check-in to show you how all these things wore, so you'll be able to see like if this mascara flaked or anything, because that's a huge pet peeve of mine. I remember it flaking a little bit the first time I used it, so we'll see. And we'll also look at how the foundation wore and everything. So I'm gonna try the bottom lashes too, because this is how I use normal mascaras. I pretty much always put some on my bottom lashes. I feel like it deserves to be given a fair shot, but at the same time I want to see how it performs when I use it like I would use a normal mascara. My thing is, as much as I love this idea, if you want people to choose your, eco-friendly low waist mascara over a mainstream mascara, you have to give it a fighting chance, But I feel like when I'm using this brush that I actually really like with it, it does get a good chance. So that might just be the secret. It's called a volumizing mascara. So based on that claim, I definitely do think it's more volumizing than lengthening. And by that, I mean it is a little clumpy. Yeah, I do feel like the more that I build this, the clumpier it gets. So I'm gonna have to stop building it on that side, but let's just move on to the other side. The wand is coming out very saturated with product, so I'm having to scrape it off on the edge. So the other thing about this is you always have to clean off the brush after you use it so that you can actually continue using it over and over again. Otherwise, all of this product that's left on the brush will dry up. So I will be cleaning that off after this. It is a little bit more of a hassle than a regular mascara, but if I can get it to work, you know, I do like that it's so much more environmentally friendly than, you know, your normal mascara. So it coated my lashes, it made them black, so that's good. I do naturally have pretty long lashes, so just keep that in mind. But I would say they look, you know, they don't look bad. This one got a little clumpy, but I don't mind it. Like, I would wear this on a normal day. But I do want to see how it wears and if it flakes off by the end of the day. So I have 3 lip products that I picked out as at least my current least favorite. One of them is the Wet n Wild Mega Last Lipstick in Mochalicious. I think I've just figured out that I don't like brown lipstick on myself. It's a nice like deep nude on people with deeper skin tones, but I don't know. It's a dark like 90s brown. Then I have Madame Glam Pucker Up, which is this bright coral. It's not a shade I reach for very often. And then the third one I picked out is the ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lip in Soda Pop. I like the color of this, but I really don't like the applicator so much that it affects the way the product applies, and I have a hard time getting it evenly on my lips. It's like a very stubby doe foot. I'm trying to decide which of these lip colors is gonna go best with my look today. I might try the brown first. I mean, blue and brown can look okay together. I might actually just try all 3 on. I think I might like this in the fall and winter actually. It's definitely not my jam right now, the color. But I like that it has a little bit of a red undertone, so it's not just a completely like cool brown. It's not bad. I actually don't mind it as much as I thought I would. It's been a while since I've worn it, so I just wanted to give that one another shot. But I wanted to say, I think I'm gonna be doing like a full collection declutter soon, where I literally just go through every category of my makeup and just pick out things that I think are ready to be decluttered. So part of the point of this video for me is actually to sort of give these products another chance before I decide whether I should declutter them. But this one, I don't know. It's unique from anything else I have. And I actually like the formula better than like Bite Chai, which is a similar color, but it's a much softer formula. I'm gonna try Pucker Up now, which is a very different color. It's the only color I have in my collection that's quite like that. It's sort of like a hot pinky coral. It's a little too much for this eye look. I think it's just like too much color. I think I would probably go for like a nude. I don't mind it now that I'm wearing it. I think that this is a fun color for spring and summer. And we'll see how this color goes with this look. Probably also not great, but this is Soda Pop from ColourPop. I have a very hard time with this one. And I don't know if these matte ultra blotted or like sheer matte liquid lipsticks are really my thing. I think I'd rather just do a blotted technique with a bullet lipstick, you know? I feel like I just have a hard time getting it even and not like streaky and patchy. See what I mean? And it could just be because I have like remnants of that other color on my lips that I couldn't quite get off. I don't know, man. Well, I guess I'm gonna stick to that lip color because I think it's the one that goes with this look the best, although it's still not great. I might actually change into a nude after this if I decide to film another video, but I don't like it. This might end up getting decluttered. I'm gonna give it a few more chances. So that is my full face of my least favorite makeup products. You know what? Other than the lip and the brows, I actually really like everything else. Isn't that funny? I'm looking up close at my foundation and it does still look pretty dry around my mouth. This is usually the problem area. Like my upper lip, just around my mouth is where it's usually dry, and also my cheeks right here. Those don't look bad though. It's really just right here that I'm not loving. But like I said, I'm gonna check in at the end of the day to show you what it ends up looking like. It's already 2:21 in the afternoon right now, so we'll probably get like an 8-hour wear test. It'll probably be like 10 or 11 by the time I do a check-in, but I will see you guys at the end of the night. Okay, so it is about 10:07 now. So it's been about 8 hours. I did do yoga outside for like 20 minutes. So I feel like I gave this a pretty good wear test even though it was only 8 hours. This mascara looks terrible. It is all over my cheeks. Do you see that? And I feel like I can even tell at the tips of my lashes where it's actually come off, because the tips of my lashes are bare. And if you recall, I also put it on my lower lashes, and I feel like it's almost completely come off of my lower lashes. And it's not like I've been touching my eyes, rubbing my eyes, it just fell off. And it wasn't just the yoga, because even before I went outside and did yoga, there was already some fallout, and the makeup had only been on for like an hour at that point, maybe 2 hours. So yeah, I'm thinking that mascara is gonna have to be a hard pass for me. I'm thinking maybe I didn't blend the deepener with the foundation very well. Maybe that's why there's a weird like kind of orange streak right there. But otherwise, besides the mascara, which I'm gonna try to like dust off as best I can, I feel like my skin looks pretty good. I don't mind the way the foundation looks. I think it looks still a little dry on my upper lip. The only place it doesn't look great is like right around my nose, which has been kind of dry lately, and this zit that's kind of drying out. It does not look great right there. But everywhere else it really looks fine. I mean, it's definitely not glowy or luminous at all still. It still looks honestly pretty matte. I guess kind of satin, but I still don't feel like it's a luminous foundation on me. Really don't like the brows also. I just think they look kind of bad. Like they're too dark and they just don't look quite even. That was the only time I'd ever actually filled in my brows with this using a brush. And so I don't think I would try that technique again. I thought maybe I would like it that way, but I didn't. I still will probably use this on very light makeup days just to like gently comb through my brows, give them a little bit of a tint, but I have to be very light-handed with it. The eyeshadow I think looks fine. The lip I ended up removing like an hour in just because I didn't like the way it looked, especially I didn't like the way it looked with this eyeshadow. But I might try this one more time, but I have a feeling I'm gonna declutter this. I just don't enjoy applying it. I do think that this NYX Dark Circle Concealer is just not for me. Like, I just don't feel like it does anything. My under eyes, they just still look very dark, and I guess if you have like the faintest dark circles ever, this might provide enough coverage for you, but for me it's just not enough. And it doesn't correct either, because like I said, I've worn it underneath regular concealer, and it doesn't really do any color correcting. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep playing with this Jordana primer. I feel like it has a place in my collection and I wanna keep using it. And same with the Flower Light Illusion. I'm gonna keep playing with this and kind of messing around with different combinations of primers and powders and setting sprays and everything. And I feel like I can definitely make this work, just maybe not when my skin is at its driest. And you know, I think that this NYX Dewy finish might have played a role in just keeping the base makeup in place. I don't know what's going on there. I do feel like things look a little blotchy, but I'm gonna blame that on this deepener rather than the foundation itself. Yeah, I'm not really getting any like creasing around my smile lines too badly. Usually that's a problem. I feel like things kind of just stayed in place. So yeah, this is another thing that I think I can also make work in the warmer months, but definitely not when my skin is dry. It's not something I want to use. Yeah, I think I will end up keeping most of this. The only things I can see myself decluttering are the NYX Dark Circle Concealer, the mascara. I'm probably gonna declutter this. I'm gonna try to use it a few more times. This ColourPop lippy I might also declutter. I hate saying that. I really wanted to like this. I really thought I was gonna like it, obviously, which is why I bought it, but it's just the combination of the applicator and the formula itself, it's just kind of dry. Anyway, that was a fun experiment. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think it's just a good idea to kind of give the products that you don't like and maybe that you push to the back of your drawer and kind of forget about because you didn't like them the first few times you tried them. Just give them another chance and see what happens. You don't necessarily have to give them a chance all together at once because that may not be the smartest way to do it, but for the video it was really fun. And yeah, I think I'll be using some of these products more, and maybe they won't be my least favorite anymore, but some of them I definitely think it's time to like move on from. So that is all for today's video. I am going to wash my face and forget that this mascara ever happened, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Definitely give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday, and hopefully I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.